should be recording. Okay. And my video starting. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. We're good to go. All right, I'm here with Mackenzie Dern, fresh off her win on Saturday. How are you today, Mackenzie?
Doing good. I couldn't be happier. I got a good win on Saturday. Got the bonus. So, woo.
Yep. Yeah, big congrats. It's 2 in a row. That's great.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
So first question is, how long have you been training with Jason Perillo?
I'm training with him for 4 weeks, almost 5 weeks.
4 weeks. So it was just for this last fight?
Yeah, I was like in the middle of the camp. This camp started, I did 8-week camp, so was halfway through, and then I started training with him, and yeah, I felt great. It was a whole new confidence. Really changed my kind of how much I believed in myself on my striking, and how much potential I see in being a complete fighter, like not giving up my jiu-jitsu, but just making my striking and combining that with my ground game.
All right, cool. So my next question is, were you surprised when Randa engaged on the ground? Were you expecting her to try and keep the fight standing?
Yeah, I thought she was going to keep it standing a little bit longer. I mean, I know people do like grounded pounds, so I wasn't like, I figured, oh, she might try to do ground pound or maybe like do a little bit of wrestling because I know she's a wrestler. But that like so soon, and like I kind of went to the ground because I slipped because of my kick. So it wasn't like I got knocked down and like, I was kind of ready to go to finish. It was kind of like very in the beginning, and I was good and fresh and everything. So I was a little surprised.
Yeah, I was a little bit too, actually. I thought she'd definitely try and keep it standing. So my next question is, how have you been able to manage the weight cutting since your return last year? You made weight 3 times in a row. So how have you been able to manage that?
Yeah, it's so like kind of embarrassing, because I was like 1/3 of my fights I didn't make weight. I had 9 fights, and I had missed weight on 3. So to be able to like pass that now, and now I'm not 1/3 now, and I have 10 fights. So I'm like, okay, I'm starting to like really push that behind, and just a lot of training hard. Like I said, I've trained so hard for this fight. I was so focused. I'm just training 3 times a day. And then also too, just watching the diet and not letting myself get relaxed, Before I kind of wasn't so professional. I felt professional because, man, I'm so focused for this camp and fight. But when I didn't have a fight scheduled, I'd be like out party or be traveling someplace and things like that. And then just start training when I got a camp. So for me, I don't think that's like now today as a more focused athlete, now I realize like, no, the real fighter that's like focused and stuff, they train even when they're not in camp, and they're just constantly getting better. And that definitely makes the weight way more easier, instead of like being relaxed and then trying to kill yourself in 6 weeks or something like that. Now it's like my weight, I'm just naturally walking at a lower weight. I'm leaner. I'm trying to get the strength back. I still want to get a little bit bigger strength wise. So I think I'll put maybe 2 pounds more, but just watching the diet and doing good. I'm really happy. It's a lot of dedication and more focus for sure.
That's great. And you just and I think the most impressive thing about you making weight the last 3 fights is you had a daughter like less than 2 years ago, right? And a lot of women struggle with like, they put it's hard for them to get their weight down after. And you've been able to since make weight easier, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I think the best thing about and it's crazy because people think like, oh, me getting pregnant, maybe that slowed me down or put like a little bit pause in my career. But honestly, I think it's the opposite, because I think if I would have continued the way I was before I got pregnant, like my weight was really high. My mindset was like, oh, just, like I said, just train when I have a fight scheduled. I think that would have slowed me down in the long run. I'm probably would have lost again or lost sooner, or, I wouldn't get that far. Then now that almost when I was pregnant, I gained so little weight when I was pregnant. I lost a lot of muscle, and she just kind of sucked up all the fat, I guess, So I really was just kind of like her weight, and that's it. So the pregnancy was good, really, like kind of started my body off back to zero, and I could just start to build on that and build on that and build on that. So just toning things and getting, you know, the normal parts when you're pregnant and you have a baby, go through, you know, motherhood, everything. So now kind of just coming back to an athlete, like body type and everything. I'm feeling really good. And man, having the baby was like the best thing that could have happened to me, honestly. Now my career is just going like, we're shooting up.
Yeah, I honestly, I thought after you would have taken a lot more time off after you had your baby, but you came back, was it 6 months later or something? 4 months. It was that soon. And yeah, and when I saw you made weight, I'm like, wow, she's in like really good shape for that. That was the Amanda Ribas fight. And I was impressed. I thought you wouldn't come back for a while, and you maybe put the MMA on the back burner, but you really, you came back and you've definitely proved some people wrong. And I think with a lot of fighters, fatherhood, motherhood, that motivates them to win more. They have something more to fight for.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I can't say like, hey, I'm more motivated than anybody else or anything like that. Everyone has their own motivations, self-motivated and all those things. But definitely it's a lot. It's a lot different, like when you have to pay, like you need to take care of another human being, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I can be away, like, okay, if I don't have fights for a while or sponsors, whatever, I can eat ramen noodles, that's no problem. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, man, no, I want to make sure I can, provide for my daughter and for our family and help and just be like, get to the most potential I have, if I have the potential to be the best in the world, then I need to try to reach my full potential, not just the tip of the iceberg, so definitely Moa, my daughter, she brought that out in me, and also to just now that I have someone who's following me, she copies me everything I do. I'm like, okay, like they say, oh, you don't want to do say cuss words in front of your kids because that's gonna be like the first word,
They're like a sponge.
Yeah, I'm like realize like, oh, yeah, I really am an inspiration for her, and I want to be like the best role model possible for her.
So when are you planning on getting back in the cage? Are you going to take maybe the rest of the year off, or do you want to get back in and before the year ends?
Yeah, I definitely want to get back in at least one more time before 2020 finishes. Nice. Get 4 fights in 1 year, like 1 year. I mean, I fought in October, so.
Yeah, a calendar year. Like a calendar
year. So if I could get like one more fight, that'd be good. And yeah, I mean, I'm not in a rush to be like, needs to be this month or something like that in Fight Island, if it's in Vegas. Vegas is getting me good luck, I'm getting 2 bonuses in Vegas, so I wouldn't mind being in the smaller octagon. I think it's really good for my style, so yeah, that's the goal.
And where do you live?
Huntington Beach, California.
Okay, I thought it was California, but I wasn't 100% sure. So that's pretty close. That's like a good Vegas and California. Are
no jet lag, no long flights, anything like that. It's really good. My family can come with me, my husband, my wife. So Vegas, definitely. If we have that option, I would prefer Vegas this year still.
Yeah. And so you're ranked number 15 right now, right? Or have you gone up since you're?
I don't know. I didn't see anything.
Oh, sorry, you were cutting out a little bit.
I think it's. I don't know if I went up yet. I didn't see anything yet, so we'll see. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it didn't move yet, but we'll see.
Was I gonna? Who would you like to fight next? Any opponent on your radar?
No. I mean, whoever really, like whatever the UFC they see as a good matchup. It's always like exciting to me because I don't know if like striking is a good matchup for me, because if I can get them to the ground, then they're kind of like a fish out of the water, or if they're a grappler, because then maybe we won't be really doing any striking, we'll be more on the ground, and I'm pretty confident with my jiu-jitsu level in the strawweight division. I think I have the highest jiu-jitsu level in the strawweight division. So if maybe it's a grappler, like maybe they want to do their strength, but I'll still feel more confident. So I haven't figured out what's the best, style matchup for me.
Yeah.
So I'm not really in the space to like, tell my manager like, that's a good matchup, that's a bad matchup. I really don't know. It's whoever they kind of offer, and so, just kind of get me closer and closer to the title.
And speaking of, because jiu-jitsu, obviously that's like your bread and butter. That's where you started. How did you transition from jiu-jitsu to MMA? Like, how old were you? Made you get into mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I started training at an MMA gym at the MMA lab when I was still competing jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I was training with the guys like the wrestling days. So I had some like grappling with some little gloves, you know, and kind of, and just to add extra training to my jiu-jitsu, you know, I was like missing, I hadn't got the world title yet at black belt. So I was like, man, I need an extra training, more than just my jiu-jitsu training, and to push the cardio and all these things. And all the guys there like, man, you're so good, you know, if you can like work your strike and everything, you can go far. It was right like when Ronda Rousey had exploded in the UFC, and I saw these opportunities, you know. I said, okay, I was able to win my world title, and I said, okay, I accomplished my goals in jiu-jitsu, you know. I'm young, you know, let me try MMA and see what I think. If I like it, you know, I'll try and do it. If not, I can always come back to jiu-jitsu. So I did it, and I am liking the process right now. I see so much potential. Like I see the belt, you know, in the future, you know. So definitely want to stay at it, and I'm happy I made the transition the time I did.
Is that like your goal? Like 2021 will be the year you want to fight for the belt?
I don't know. I can't put like a timeline on it, you know. Just everything depends. Last time I put a timeline on that, I got pregnant. So we'll see.
Right.
We'll see what happens. You know, anything can happen, but definitely, I'm number 15. I don't know if I moved in the ranks, but I definitely want to have some fights that would get me closer and closer to it. And I don't know. I don't know if I would like to fight for the belt when they have a public again. You know, if it's good
Right.
the way it is. You know, maybe I wouldn't mind, you know, having some more time to train and then be able to fight when the public is back and kind of have that vibe and energy. I always wanted to like maybe fight for the belt and have like a good walk-in with some dancers or something. Like I feel like really, man, this is what I trained for. So like let's really like celebrate this and put all the energy. So. But hey, I'm not gonna say no if I get that call for belt, you know, tomorrow or something. You know what I mean? So, for me, there's no timeline. Just trying to get better until that day comes.
And how different is it fighting? Because your last two fights, if I'm not mistaken, have been since the pandemic started. How different is it preparing for fights and everything during this time?
Yeah, the first one was a little bit harder just because was like originally I had one opponent, and then I think with the visa things it got changed, and then the date was one, and then it got pushed back. So the beginning was right in the beginning, the whole pandemic, and we didn't know if they were gonna have fights and all these things. Now we kind of like got used to the way we train, you know, and kind of used to how they do the quarantine and all these things.
Right.
So I think it was a little bit better for me to focus down. Like I can't travel, so I came back from the fight, just went back to the gym and kept training and training. Then I started to really see the results show, you know, in the training and not just in the fight, you know, like start saying, man, I don't even have a fight schedule and I feel I'm getting better, you know. Usually you see the results when I'm in camp or something. So for me to see the results and me getting better with no fight schedule or anything, I was like, man, this is fun. This is exciting. You know, I want to keep, you know, it's fun for me to be like training, even there's no, with no objective yet, you know. So I think that pandemic kind of helped me buckle down and be focused and like really enjoy more being in the gym and all those things.
Yeah. And so what adjustments have you made since the fight with Amanda Ribas?
I've been working my striking, being my wrestling, of course. Just being a little bit, I guess, meaner, you know, trying to be more aggressive and pushing the pace, not letting me be behind, you know. I think that's just kind of the mind game was a big thing I felt in the fight with her, you know, like I'd punch, but when she would punch me back, you know, I felt a little like sensitive to the punches, you know, like not that I didn't want to be there, but you know, I didn't have like that aggression to like really fight back and bite down on my mouth protection, just, you know, go for it and get the fight to the ground. I said, man, I'm one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters in the world, you know, like I have 15 minutes to put this person on the ground, you know, and play my world, you know. It shouldn't be like that hard, you know. Of course we have punches, it's difficult, you know, it mixes things up. You need to think and you need to have the right timing, but man, I just need, these girls aren't training jiu-jitsu as long as I have, you know, so I have 15 minutes to take them to the ground and submit them. Like, man, that should be more than enough. You know, I need to do this. So I really focus on that with that mindset and just trying to be aggressive and make my hands a little dangerous too.
Well, I think sometimes you do see with fighters in MMA who are jiu-jitsu based, like that's where they start from. They struggle sometimes getting the fight to the ground. They're amazing if it gets there, but sometimes their issue can be actually getting the other fighter to the ground. So if you were able to master wrestling and get the fight to the ground, I mean, I don't think there's many girls, if any, in the strawweight division who can beat you on the ground.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and that's something that I always been like very open about, you know, like, hey, I think like, and not saying that none of the girls can submit me. Of course they can, because man, you just need to catch the position. I could make a mistake here or there, you know.
Absolutely.
But I definitely think my jiu-jitsu is a different level just from being so long competing and thinking about jiu-jitsu my whole life. But it's hard to get to the ground, you know. I'm trying to get to the ground and they're punching me in the face. Okay, I teach you to wrestle and they stay the whole camp doing wrestling takedown defense, you know. So it's like, man, these girls are training for me too, you know. It's not like I found them on the street and hey, let me fight you, you know. It's like I'm fighting girls that are doing their whole camps training for me. They know, you know, what my specialty is, you know. So it's definitely makes it more complicated. So I definitely need to up my game and be more complete fighter. But of course, I don't want to be like gambling on striking or wrestling or anything. Like, definitely I prefer to gamble on the ground, you know. So as long as I can get my other parts to be more well-rounded, I think I'm going to be a really good contender for the belt.
Well, I think my favorite out of all your fights, I think my favorite was Amanda Cooper. Especially because Amanda she trash talked beforehand, and I thought about your striking as well as like the weight, and you ended up actually knocking her down. And she was, I think, like a Golden Gloves boxing, like, so you were able to beat her at her game. So was that like so far the highlight of your career, do you feel like?
No, because I didn't make weight, you know. So even though it was so nice, you know, like, definitely I just wish I would have made weight, you know, because that's something that like kind of still haunts me till today. You know, I feel like I said, you know, I feel so embarrassed. Like, man, I really wish if I would have made weight, that would have made it for sure so special, you know. But I'm looking to have that happen again. That's my goal, to have something similar like that happen. I think it will happen. It will happen again. So I'm kind of want to, like, you know, they say like, do you want to avenge your defeat, you know. It's like, man, I want to avenge that fight that I didn't make weight, you know, and show that I can do that, you know. But it's a good memory of the fight for sure.
Oh yeah, I was pretty excited. I remember because I had like a little money on you that fight, so I was pretty. So what would you say has been the highlight of your career? Would it be this win on on Saturday? Because Randa's beaten Carlos Barza, who's a former champion. I mean, that's a pretty big accolade. That was a big win.
For sure. Randa is definitely the most experienced girl I fought, you know. I never fought someone who's fought so many girls who's been high in the ranks in the UFC, you know. So she definitely knows what I need. She definitely has what you need to be there, you know, to be up at the top. So to beat her, and I think like with my game, you know, the jiu-jitsu that I do was really a big booster for my confidence. And I think definitely the highlight, you know. I think the fact that it wasn't easy, you know. It wasn't an easy fight. She was hard to submit her. She was like releasing the pressure. Then I'd get the pressure, then she released again with like just a little movement. You know, I was like, man, I'm gonna really have to like get this elbow, you know. But I think definitely was probably like the highlight, you know, of my career so far, just to make it kind of seem easy, you know, like just transitioning from position to position and all these things.
And when you train for fights, how do you split between like striking and jiu-jitsu? Do you train a lot of jiu-jitsu, or do you kind of focus more on other areas because you're so good already on the ground?
Yeah, I train more like the other areas, just like kind of my weaknesses. I just train all the time, the things that I'm weak in. The jiu-jitsu, my dad comes out close to the fight, like 1 month before he starts to come out every weekend, and then he stays the last 2 weeks straight with me. And then that's kind of just to like get my timing better and just sharpen up the things on jiu-jitsu, you know. But jiu-jitsu is so fun for me, you know. It's so natural. It's like, it's hard for me to sweat in jiu-jitsu just because your body is so used to the movements, you know. So it's like, I do it more just for fun when I have free time. Like, hey, let's roll with some people, but really like training. I train mostly like my weak things, like my striking.
Right. And how old were you when you got into jiu-jitsu?
3. I was 3 when I started.
Sorry, say that again?
When I was 3 years old.
3, okay. Oh, wow. So your entire life,
Yeah.
basically.
So long.
Pretty much able to walk.
Yeah.
And one more question. What's your favorite submission?
My favorite submission, I think Domoplata. I like Domoplata, because it I feel like just gives so many opportunities. Like if it goes wrong, you have a sweep. If you can go to omoplata to the neck, if they're flexible on the shoulder, you can switch to armbar. So it's just like in it's just, and you can go to the leg lock. There's so many options from the omoplata, just depending on how they try to defend. If they try to roll, if they want to stand up, if they want to, what they want to do. So, and then if anything, you can use it to sweep it and come on top, and they were good. So I think it's my favorite.
All right. Well, thank you, Mackenzie, for your time. We've been on almost a half hour. I really, me and MA Island really appreciate it, and keep kicking ass in the gym. And I can't wait to see you again in the cage.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It was a blast.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye.